I'm proud to rise on behalf of Nanaimo Ladysmith as the Member of Parliament and also formally elected locally, and so I have a very deep understanding of the imperative in our region for full support for affordable housing. It's at the foundation of everything. We work from our homes, we have shelter, it allows us to be healthy, it's foundational, and so it's a very important role for all levels of government to be taking. I am going to be splitting my time with the member for Windsor West. So the need in Nanaimo is deeply described by a number of my constituents. I polled everybody this summer. We had at least 500 responses from people. I heard terrible things from them. For example, I am a 70-year-old single lady and I have to pay $1,700 a month, very hard on a pension. I'm not ready for seniors living yet. Another says we have lived in 6 homes in 4 years because we can't find a long-term rental home. On my partner and my caregiving incomes, we can't afford to buy. Another writes, in a few years, I shall be entirely dependent on my CPP and OAS. My medication costs me approximately $500 per month. It's going to be very difficult to find affordable rental. It goes on and on. And most recently in Nanaimo, the crisis of homelessness has been made explicit by the establishment of a now 300-person tent city right on our waterfront, blocks away from where the Prime Minister and his cabinet met this summer at the convention centre in Nanaimo. What triggered this was an offer from the provincial government for temporary affordable housing, a 44-unit modular housing that you can pop up. The land that the city offered, the city council voted no to allowing affordable housing to go there, and so the homeless community and the advocates in frustration created this very visible expression of the need for housing and their great displeasure at the elected city council refusing the provincial government's offer. And so I visited Tent City, and I heard stories that were heartwarming and heartbreaking. A young woman who said, look, I have a job, but I'm on leave from it while I'm dealing with an addiction issue. I have qualified for addiction treatment, but because I have no address, I'm not allowed to do the final paperwork to get there. I mean, that's a jam that I don't know how any of us would be able to get out of. I heard other women describe to me the benefits for them of even having this really, hard-scrabble life on this vacant property with tents and tarps. They said, it used to be when I would go to a job interview with my shopping cart, it didn't go so well. But now that I have a little lock on the zipper of my tent and my neighbor will go and watch my stuff for me, well, I go over to the Salvation Army, I get a shower, I can walk down the street like anybody else can. I have at least the opportunity to get my life back on track. Another said, now that I'm not thinking every moment about where I'm going to sleep and keep my stuff tonight, I have time, I've reconnected with my family. So it's just such a small thing. And these people were very proud of the governance structures and the support that they had built within the tent city. Now, there is also, of course, a terrible downside of having that concentration of people in deep need fighting addiction issues and really just barely getting by. Crime has concentrated there. The neighboring properties, homeowners have certainly had thefts, so have the local merchants. So this is obviously not a solution, and I'm not advocating for a tent city, but I do applaud the organizers for making it front and center. The stats are extreme. The Nanaimo Homelessness Action Plan 2018 to 2023, just tabled with the City Council of Nanaimo, says, put bluntly, Nanaimo faces pressures that threaten the integrity and sustainability of the current system if not addressed. The service challenges in Nanaimo need to account for the challenges posed by changes in housing and labour markets, in particular, sharp rises in housing costs, low vacancy rates, and precarious income. And it goes on. And so I want to... the government in power has got a budget set aside for dealing with housing. Homelessness, I mean, at every phase, everywhere on the progression of housing needs. If we build more units, then it takes the pressure off other sections. Homelessness is helped when people with some means can move into newly built places. It opens up some of the lower income spots. It takes the pressure off. And so we do need to get building. And our community is doing this. We've got some real success stories that I want to applaud. The Ladysmith Resource Centre Association is working with the Anglican Church, the Anglican Diocese of British Columbia, to build a 36-unit affordable housing project right downtown in Ladysmith. I'm really proud and glad to be supporting that. Also in Nanaimo, Brechin United is doing a really innovative, they've basically knocked down their church to redesign it completely so that it can have affordable housing built in. This is how the work gets done in our community. The Nanaimo Aboriginal Centre has added, I believe, 60 units in total to Nanaimo's affordable housing stock. They built the first multifamily housing that's been opened in British Columbia since 1999. It's a passive energy design, beautiful, innovative, full of art, space for elders. It's a beautiful place. And they've also taken over what used to be called King Arthur's Court, is now renamed Sanala. It was a real nuisance property, a problem for police. Their management, Chris Beaton and his team, have just transformed it. And it's become much more of a home for families. John Howard Society is hands-on in Nanaimo. They work with people on parole, men on parole, trying to transition into a better life. Their rate of recidivism is virtually nothing if they've gone through these restorative justice programs and lived within a therapeutic community where they reinforce each other's work and each other's healing, taking responsibility for what the crimes that they did and recognizing their own trauma from childhood or addictions that got them into this place. This is some anecdotes from John Howard Society. A formerly homeless person in addiction, he went to every agency in town, filled in every application, and except for the John Howard Society working with him, even when he was homeless, that made all the difference. We also heard from a previous to homelessness. This person had a career in the oil fields and a small contracting business, and through addiction lost all of it. You know, there's very hurt people out there, and I'm so grateful for the organizations on the ground that are helping them out. The United Way in Nanaimo is a tremendous leader. They're part of the umbrella group that coordinates response to homelessness and makes all the difference. Through our work on the Status of Women Committee, we've heard kind of stunning stories about the rate at which women who face domestic violence become homeless. Haven Society's Executive Director Ann Taylor told us at the Status of Women Committee, when a woman is forced to make the choice to leave her home because of violence, she's really being forced to make the choice to step into poverty and to bring her children along with her. Wage inequity, lack of accessible childcare, and safe, affordable housing are a few of the barriers she will have to navigate. This is on top of her safety concerns, the trauma she's experienced, and the high likelihood she may not be believed. In fact, she may be blamed. We've also got a fantastic group. The Island Crisis Care hosts the Samaritan House right on the downtown strip in Nanaimo, and they have told stunning stories about homelessness in our community. They said, again, to Status of Women Committee, we had an 82-year-old woman and a 76-year-old woman who so far have accessed our homeless shelter for the first time. They say 50% of the occupants of their women's homeless shelter just over the last 9 months are over the age of 50, women who have worked all their lives, no fault of their own, housing pressures, have become homeless. And so we have work to do. The government's commitments to invest affordable housing are mostly after the next election. If they can find $4.5 billion to invest in a leaky old pipeline, surely we can spend as much money right now with these valued community partners and give Canadians the respect and the homes that they deserve.